Okay, thank you so much. So my name is Adaobi, and I'm Nigerian American, and I'll be talking about women economic empowerment as a precursor to creating a more sustainable society. And I like what Dr. Tino just said, and yesterday too, I see lots of women are empowered in this part of the world. So I'll be bringing a different view of the world where I'm from. And I do not want you to have a misconception, because when we portray Africa, it's always poor and people are suffering. Yeah, I'm also going to show you that, but I want you to be seeing it in the light of a lack of empowerment, which affects every woman in every part of the world. The fact that I'm portraying mine doesn't mean it doesn't exist in Middle East or in Asia or in Latin America or everywhere. But follow me through the journey. So my nonprofit, which we've manned for over 8 years thereabout right now, we're doing loads of work in Africa, in Nigeria to be precise, and we just registered in the US. Okay, so look at the screen. The first word there is hopelessness. Thank you. So the question I have for you is, does an unempowered woman feel hopeless? I need a response. A woman that is not empowered, does she feel hopeless?
Yes.
That means she will have no economic security, she may be constantly harassed sexually, and in some cases, she may be homeless.
Yeah.
Right. So this is one of the beneficiaries of the project we worked on in eastern part of Nigeria, and I'll get to her story very soon for you to understand what it feels to be very unempowered economically. So when economic empowerment, what does it mean? According to Gates Foundation, it means that you should have access to your own income and assets. Some research shows that a lot of women do not, yesterday we saw that how many % of women do not have bank accounts, or they could have joint accounts. I don't know why we just can't have bank accounts. As at 1900, women were not even allowed to own properties, but now things have changed. But has it really changed? Not in every sphere of life. It also means that you should have control and benefit from economic gains. It also means you should have power to make decisions. I don't even want to go into the nitty-gritty of what is happening around the world, where women are not allowed to make decisions about reproductive rights or anything that concerns them. So are we really economically empowered, so to say? That is all we have to think about and figure out today. Okay, so what will it mean for a society? According to UN Women, under the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, if women participated in the economy at the same rate as men, it will add up to $60 trillion in the GDP. So if you compare this, it means that if women are allowed to really be part of nation building, economy participation, doing everything the same way or at the same rate that men are allowed to participate, we're going to be increasing our GDP. Does it not just make sense to allow women to participate at the same rate? It just makes sense, but yeah, it's not going to happen. We hope it happens soon. So women's economic empowerment speeds up development, it helps overcome poverty, it reduces inequalities, improves children's nutrition, health, and school attendance. Now, this is going to help you understand why we had to start the project we're doing and how it has helped just this one woman make sure her kids are in school and nutrition and improving quality of life. Okay, so the present story. So you saw a woman called Mrs. Ebere from the first slide. You will see what we did with her on the second slide. I would have wanted to go back so you can see what she looked like at the first one. Now I said she's the woman with swag because at the first time she felt so rejected, dejected, and there's a backup story to that as to why she was really the way she was. But we were able to set up a business for her, and we can try to do clean cooking for her so she doesn't have to do firewood because the constant need of debt, again, for women in Nigeria at least, shows that domestic cooking, with firewood and all that causes lots of other preventive diseases that they shouldn't die from. So we had to do clean cooking to give her gas cooking for the commercial work she wants to do. Okay, I don't know if you can read this, but in August of last year, we received a distress call she was a beneficiary of one of the projects we do at Christmas time, and she was thrown out of the uncompleted building. A very the building was horrible, but she was living there with her children, and they were also doing poetry and all those things, and rain also comes in. But the caretaker of this building is asking her for sex. She's a widow, and she doesn't want to do that, like, allow me to just stay in this place and care for my kids. But, he keeps harassing her, tries to bring his friend, tries to rape her, and she wouldn't budge, so he chased her out of the uncompleted building, and it was raining for 2 nights in that city. So while she was out in the rain, we got a call. Some of our project people in the nonprofit got a call that she's outside with her kids. Of course, we swung into action, and one of the things we found out was because she was not economically empowered, she was hopeless, helpless, and homeless. And so that was the reason why we had to swing into action, get support. Okay, find out what do you want to do, what can you do, because you can't be on our payroll. We need to really empower you economically for you to be able to start doing something. So we're able to get her a home. It's a long story, so there's a long other, maybe showing you the house where she was coming out from and where she just moved into and all those things. So we just had a small picture over there. But this is the before of this woman, and this is the after. And I know you can see the difference. Once you're making, even if it's just a little bit of money that is your own, it's just a difference. I mean, she's still in the process of transformation, but from within August last year to this year, I am so happy with the tremendous impact. So this is who she is right now. Now, we're able to help her start her business. There's a whole video. I mean, I would have shared that, but because of time, where you could literally see if gratefulness was a person, she would not only cried and prayed and danced and jumped. I mean, she appeared on the news, the local news in the city where the project was implemented. Now, we only helped her start a business, but because women naturally have drives, this woman has added another side stuff. What she was supposed to do was just the akara balls, which is the other substance you're seeing, but she added yam and potato. She added bread, right? So I was looking at a vision. I'm like, now she's a small business-owned woman, right? And now she has also gone ahead to add other things to help augment what she's doing. So we know we did not waste our investments. We took her through mentorship trainings for her to understand saving culture. This is where to put your statements of account. This is where to open a bank account. So we're taking her gradually through this mentorship process so she knows if she doesn't do well, you're affecting the next woman who we will want to empower. So we want you to make sure you allow other women. And like Dr. Tinu said, because women in the rural area have been neglected a lot, we wanted to move our impact to the grassroots for people to see the difference between empowering women in the grassroots and maybe those who already have the wherewithal. So we can see that there is no difference, that a woman from a grassroots area can still be economically wise or prudent, the same with a woman who maybe is coming from the township or the urban area. Now, lessons learned. The lesson we're learning is that one woman brings hope to her family, many women bring hope to humanity. Yeah. Empowering one woman will ensure that her entire family receives better healthcare and nutrition. Yeah. And every society will fare better when women are economically empowered. Yes. We still have more women to empower. All these people, we did lots of interviews. There's so many of them, but I mean, just put small pictures here and there. And so, I want you to always advocate for women's economic empowerment because it leads to a more sustainable society. Start from your own families and communities. Yeah. Thank you. And I want to thank our wonderful team back in Eastern Nigeria who carried out the project. So this is them. I head up the nonprofit, so I do more of the organizational setting and everything else, but they do the field work, so I really want to give thanks to them. All right, thank you so much, everyone.
One question, please.
Question.
One question.
Right.
Any question?
Any questions?
What we've been hearing here and what we usually found is, you affect one place, you affect the other place, and that how can one
Right. So we just registered the nonprofit in the US, in Maryland. So yeah, so we want to make sure that we have a more global representation and also be at the sea, because some of the funding we receive is from MacArthur Foundation, Ford Foundation, Tulip Africa. So we also write for funding to get funded. But as a partner in the US, I would want to finish finalizing all the process, because you have to write this out in your tax, right, and all that. So without having that full America coverage of non-exempt status, I just want to get all that done. We just started the process. We've gotten the approval, but now we're waiting for our 501c. Once that is approved, I'll reach out to you, because we need so many people. Right.
Is part of your economic empowerment plan for these women inclusive of training around personal safety and self-defense? Your partners who are supporting you in that?
We've done one, but we could do more. And we've done one only in Lagos, like where women have been trained on, their own self-development and defense, but not defense like from where you're coming from, right? Yeah, but we need, because when the landlord or the caretaker was harassing her, if she knew how to defend herself, it would have been great. So yeah, so I think, and he also almost molested her son. So yeah, we need to have more conversations around that. Yeah, but the problem is that most of the women in rural areas do not have smart devices, to like, okay, let's have an online session with them. So we have to bring them in a room together for us to have access to maybe international people to train them on some of those things.
Yes, let's talk. Yeah.
Or she travel. We may have a conference in Nigeria. So yeah, I'll have your contact, right? Yeah.
I didn't actually have a question, I had a statement. I just wanted to say, instead of your organisation doing what so many organisations do and just say, oh, bless you and be well, I saw in that article that you actually gave her practical help.
Yeah.
That's what people need. You paid her rent for 2 years until you showed her, how to live a better life. You trained her in how to start her own business.
Right.
So that's such a big thing. Like, for me, that's what people want. They want practical help, and you've given that.
Yeah. Thank you. Like, you have, yeah.
So I saw that they helped her. She was in a crisis, which is wonderful. We need that. From a younger stage, is there any education so that we can get to the point for the crisis?
So, we started a project where we're reaching out to, our nonprofit focuses on women and girls. So we do advocacy outreaches in schools and mentoring sections, right? But as to like an adult, most times we get to see them when they're already in the crisis, right? But for the kids or the youths, we bring them in and do the mentoring before there is a crisis, to kind of model a life for them. But for these adult women, sometimes mistakes are already started before we come in.
Last question.
Shiva?
I just want to make a comment because what you're doing here is actually applicable to every country in this world.
Right.
Because you may find that raising up women on average in Africa is going to make a huge difference. There are many first world countries who have the same issue.
I said that,
And
yeah.
I point to Canada with our indigenous rural populations. The concept here is applicable to so many countries, and that would go for the US, for Canada, for the UK. There are all sorts of examples of this. You bring such a beautiful model because I would agree, when you support women and you put a hand up for them when they need it, they rise up.
Right.
And so, I think I really, really applaud what you're doing.
Right. Was there a question?